All right, class. So we're gonna finish up the notes here real quick on this video. We completed the first one together. The second one, why don't you guys try to give it a shot on your own? Okay, just remember the goal, right? You want to change these three terms. You want to change it to 4, right? Because when we do 4, then we can actually do our factor by grouping. And the way to do that is when you set up your x method there. Okay, so you guys have the formula here for the x method. I'm gonna slowly do this one, but please hit pause. Try to do the first couple steps on your own, and then when you have trouble, then hit play. Okay. So again, let's get some official learning, right? Don't just copy this down blankly. Okay, so I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna list my a, b, and c. Okay, so that was a good thing to do. 2, -5, and 2. Okay, a, b, c. Simple as that. You're gonna set up your x method. Okay, draw your x. Yeah, I like to write like the a times b just to remind me, right? A times b, sorry, a times c. See, there you go. And your b is down here. A times c is pretty easy. You just take the first number times the last. That's your a and c. That'll be 4. Your b is just that middle number here. Your b is -5. Okay. So once you have those two, that's how you start off your riddle. Your goal is to find the splitting numbers, right? So find those two splitting numbers. Those two numbers have to multiply to 4 and add to -5, okay? So it's always easiest in terms of your mind here. You want to make sure you're thinking about the multiplication now. So just think of all your numbers that multiply to 4. 1 times 4, that works. And you kind of see a little bit, take a pause, like 1 and 4, can that relate to adding to -5 somehow? Right? So it turns out -1 times -4, -1 times -4 is +4, and then -1 plus -4 is actually also -5, okay? So that works out, okay? So here it'll be -1x and then -4x, okay? That's how you split them up. And then here, you just bring down the other two numbers, 2x squared plus 2. And again, we call these two numbers, we call it the splitting numbers, okay? The reason why it's called the splitting numbers is because you use those numbers to split that middle one, okay? And after you do that, that's the only new part of the lesson. All right, this here is the new part. From here on is what we did before. You factor by grouping, take the first two. Looks like x is what they have in common. 2x minus 1. Take the second two. -4 and 2. Looks like -2 is what they're going to have in common. And again, spoiler alert. If this is 2x minus 1, over here should be 2x minus 1. -4 divided by -2 is 2. Leave the x. 2 divided by -2 is -1. Easy money. 2x minus 1. And then x minus 2 here. That's your final answer. Okay, boom. Awesome. Okay, so just reflecting back on this whole process here, we just did 2 for-1 examples. Reflecting back on this whole process, right? You have your quadratic function, ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b, c are just numbers. Remember your goal for a trinomial, you want it in 4 terms. Okay? So you start off by using the x method. We'll talk about this step next, okay? When it says look for the greatest common factor first, we're actually going to do that for example 2. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But before that, or sorry, after that, you use the x method. Then you'll find the splitting numbers. You change the trinomial into a polynomial, which is the 4 terms, right? That's the 4 terms that we want. And then you can do your factor by grouping. Okay, so those are your steps there. To spice things up with example 2, okay? So I'll walk you guys through this one, and then you guys would try the you try part on your own, okay? So follow these steps, okay? Now we're going to use this asterisk step. The asterisk step says look for the greatest common factor first. So right now, when you look at this, you always want to factor a common factor first if it has one. Look at those 3, 6, -3, -18. 3 is actually going to work. So now you have 2y squared minus y minus 6. Okay, it's 6, negative 3, and negative 18. They all have a 3 in common. Right, you can even do a double check by just distributing again. Right, you should get the same thing. So now you're focused on this now. So now your A, B, and C is going to be different. Again, you factored things out first, so you work with smaller numbers. Okay, it will help you out in the end. Your A is 2 now. Your B, okay, is at negative 1. Okay, the invisible 1. And then that negative 6. Okay, that's your A, B, C there. You can literally just ignore the 3 now until the end. So let's start your X method. X method, A times C, right? Your A times C, 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Your B here is just negative 1. Okay, I want you guys to do the thinking here for a bit. Okay, just think about it. What two numbers would multiply negative 12? Okay, it needs to multiply negative 12, add to negative 1. So in this case, all you just make a list. Okay, 1 times 12, 2 times 6. Looks like, I think 3 and 4 is a good one, guys. Right here. The 3 and 4, okay? 3 and 4 is pretty solid. You just gotta make sure you pick the right signs. 3 and 4. Obviously, one of them has to be negative. In this case, we're probably gonna choose the negative 4. Because negative 4 times 3, negative 12. Negative 4 plus 3, negative 1. Okay, that's how it works out. Right, you solve for that riddle for your X method. And then from here, you're going to factor, or you're going to split the numbers up. Okay, you're going to take your two terms, you're splitting numbers here. You're going to split the negative y. So negative y becomes 3y minus 4y. You can do a quick check, right? 3y minus 4y, that should be negative y still. Okay, you're not really changing the value of this expression, right? We're just alternating it to get 4 numbers. Bring down that negative 6, bring down that 2y squared. Okay. Now we can factor by grouping. Just shrink this real quick. So again, reflect on this X method. That is the new thing for today. It's kind of fun, I think, right? You kind of, it's like a little riddle. Each time you have a little puzzle, you gotta solve for that puzzle there. Now let's get our splitting numbers. Split them up here, group them up. This first one, 2 and 3, nothing in common with the numbers, but they do have a y in common. So I'm gonna take out the y. 2y plus 3. For the blue, you have negative 4 and negative 6. Negative 2. Negative 2 should work. 2y. Dang, look at that. Beautiful. I love these problems because you can literally check halfway through, are you doing it right or not? So that should work out. Write this as 1, 2y plus 3. Y minus 2 here. Boom. Are we done? Are we done? Almost, okay? Don't forget about this 3, right? Remember we factored out that 3 in the beginning? It can't just disappear. Okay, number can't just disappear. So yeah, make sure you bring that 3 down here. That's your official final answer. Okay. And taking all along, like the 3 is always here. Like the 3 is literally always there, but you're just focusing on this trinomial, right? Breaking it down. You just throw in that 3 at the end. All right, you guys try this one. I'm gonna pause it here. Okay, try this one on your own, and I'm gonna go over the solutions with you guys. Okay, so please hit. All right, guys. So here's a quick setup. Okay, you gotta factor it out first. Okay, don't forget that first step. You always want to look to factor something out first. I mean, one, check in standard form, right? The usual check standard form. You have a common factor, factor out the 2. That's your new A, B, and C, okay? 2, 7, and 6. Okay, set up your X method because your goal is to change it to 4 terms. 12 and 7. Okay, think about this, right? Hopefully you're just checking your answers now. 12 and 7, go 4 and 3, right? Easy money. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 plus 3 is 7. And again, if you have trouble, you have to make a list, guys, right? Do 1 times 12, okay. 2 times 6, okay, nothing still, right? You can try to find two numbers that can relate to 7 somehow. And then 3 and 4 is your last. And 3 and 4, you know, works for the 7. Okay, so you split this up. 4y and 3y plus 6 plus 2y squared. Factor by grouping. I'm going to really speed through this, okay? Feel free to slow it down on the video. Common factor, 2y. So this here is going to be y plus 2. In blue, common factor is 3, y plus 2. You already know. Same thing. We're doing it right. 2y plus 3. Boom. Bring down that 2, right? Don't forget this 2. You literally bring it down. That's your final answer. Okay. That's all for your homework, okay? So you gotta finish the notes. Feel free to play it back for any of these examples. And good job.